And as we know, China and the rest of Asia are some of the biggest engines of growth for the global economy. And that's exactly why the New York Stock Exchange is looking to expand in that region. Phillip Yin spoke to David Ethridge. He's the Senior Vice President and Head of Capital Markets Group at the New York Stock Exchange Euronext. And he asked him what the NYSE has planned for Asia.
Well, obviously there were concerns about China growth that I think probably disproportionately hit their local markets in Hong Kong more than it did our own. We've been able to power through some of the concerns that were macro-oriented. We went through Greece and Europe and the Euro, and then earlier this year we had a little bit of a dislocation around the QE3 concept and how the Fed was going to pull back on the bond buying program. But that has largely faded away for investors. I mean, you've seen some deals in Tokyo, Singapore, Hong Kong, so it's gotten better, but there are other sort of structural things there that are regulatory oriented that they've said, let's pull back, and I don't know when that'll come back.
It's been difficult for a lot of companies that have been listed in Asia. There's been some questions about accounting standards and different regulatory issues. Has that started to fade over the past couple of quarters?
Yes, I think you're characterizing it correctly. It was definitely an issue. I think it's faded to the background now. People recognize that there are going to be companies coming out of these regions. They may have accounting problems, just like you might see from any company in the U.S. as well.
What's the most successful IPO you've had so far in the last year?
We've had not that many IPOs, but we've had some nice successes and no issues. So we had VIP Shop, which I believe might be the #1 IPO for 2012 in terms of performance. Had a very difficult time pricing, and then had tremendous performance, has done a number of follow-ons. And so I think we're going to see more of that. YY followed that. We had Light in the Box this year. So, I mean, reasonable to expect that a few more will come, and that we're sort of through the accounting concerns.
What about Alibaba? Is Alibaba going to list on the New York Stock Exchange?
I can't really comment. Obviously, from the New York Stock Exchange perspective, if a company like that would think to list here, we would welcome it. It's a terrific company, a wonderful brand, doing amazing work around the globe, but I can't really comment on any specifics about the company and its team.
Let's talk about your business in Asia, specifically China. You have a representative office in Beijing. Tell us what the business strategy is in terms of getting more business out of Asia.
We've had the first rep office that was open in China, based in Beijing. We have a full team there calling on companies in Asia, and obviously most of that activity is in China specifically. I go over there 3, 4, 5 times a year, meet our listed companies, meet with prospects, and talk about the opportunity to list in the United States. That pipeline was really large in 2010, as you might imagine, and we saw a lot of activity. That has obviously been pared back some, but when I go see companies today, I still see that wonderful thing that we like to see. You see a CEO who's created a company that's 5 to 7 years old, changed the business model 3 or 4 times, but now has kind of figured it out, and they're growing at 50% top line. They've got 75, 125 million revenues. They're profitable. Those kind of companies can go public in the United States.